Good morning. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to say hello to everybody. And I want to also let you guys know that today we're going to really dig into a deep question that many of you have been asking me. A lot of you have been asking me to address this, and I've addressed it a little bit before, but I want to address it even more. Are we going to have a recession? Is there a recession coming, or is all this just much ado about nothing? Let me just tell you, the economy is looking beautiful right now. Great things are happening. The GDP numbers came through. They looked awesome. Also, there's other news and information that you should be aware of. And I'm going to break this down for you. And so get comfortable. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Please, none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and let me just tell you, when I say this is the home for intelligent Black people, I'm not talking about how many degrees you have. I'm not talking about how much money you have. I'm talking about your desire to be smarter. You know, I really like the idea of us as a community wanting to be better, and also we don't discriminate. You know, I met a nice Jewish lady recently, a young lady, maybe 20 years younger than me. And she said, I'm not Black. Can I come to your platform and learn from you? I said, of course you can. Everybody should be learning from intelligent Black people. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree with me that intelligent Black people are going to run the world. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree with me that our children, our grandchildren are going to be the best and the brightest. Give me a yes in the chat if you agree that after we do our preparations in this generation, that our people are going to be the leaders. We're going to be on top of everything. We're going to own stuff. We're going to have assets. We're going to have property. We're going to have wealth. We're going to have happiness. We're going to have success. People will be studying this, like this movement that we're making right now, this Black economic revolution. I believe people are going to study this as much as they study how Black people play basketball. They're going to study us at the same way they study how Black people run so fast and jump so high and everything else. We won't just be known for our athletic prowess. We will be known for being extraordinary economic athletes, jumping over everybody in a single bound. So keep on pushing with your kids. Keep on putting your family ahead of the curve, because God bless you. You're going to be on top of everything. Your people, the people that that you're leading in your life, are going to have a greater likelihood of success because we're being very intentional about how great we are. So anyway, shout out the city. Let me know what city you're from. Ryan Turner says, hell yes. Right on, man. I love that energy. Terrell, how you doing, brother? Wi-Fi 2017 says, don't be a sheep. We're already in a recession. Stop listening to media. They only lead you to destruction. Okay, that's a good perspective. Betty Wilson, Las Vegas. How you doing, Steven? Good to see you. Yoshika's always here first. How do you always get in here first, Yoshika? Well, I love you, sister. Thank you so much for all your support. Tiffany Mitchell. Now, you're not a stalker, Yoshika, are you? You're not a stalker. I'm kidding. I'm messing with you. I had a lady that used to come to every one of my events, and she seemed a little slow, and I was, but I give her a hug. I say, oh my gosh, look at you. Good to see you again. And then out of the blue, she started sending me some real interesting messages, like we were married, and she would say, we had nasty sex on the kitchen floor this morning, and it was, and she would talk about just stuff that's, what I'm talking about, like that dirty stuff. And then I got to the point where I became worried, because then she got mad at me because I was not reciprocating and started talking about coming to my house and killing me. And that's when I had to call the cops. That's a glimpse into my life. Believe it or not, this kind of thing really has happened in my life. I'm not pretending. It sounds crazy. You're like, why would anybody do that to a goofy professor who just talks on the internet? But it happens. So anyway, let me keep going. I'm kidding, Yashika, though. I love you too, sister. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. Carolina King, Mr. Watkins, North Carolina. So proud of you, brother. Keep it 100 at all times. Yes, I do. I ain't scared of nobody. I ain't scared of nothing. I ain't scared of racist white people. I ain't scared of ignorant black people. I'll fight all of y'all. If that's what we got to do, then let's do it. I fight with my brain, and I'm like Bruce Lee up in this mug. I ain't scared of none of y'all. Anyway, let's jump into this. Let's get started on this topic. And if you hang out to the end of the video, I'll give you a stock that I really like. And also, my website is boycewatkins.com. There's plenty of resources there to help you and your family. And if you actually want to get Dr. Boyce profit alerts sent to you via text message, just take a moment during the podcast if you want to, and text the word stock to 31996. I promise you it'll be worth your while. The Black Business School, we've helped over 10 million of our people invest and buy real estate, things like that. So if you'd like to get some free stuff like our $5 a day investing plan, a list of AI stocks that I really believe are going to do well, a list of Chinese stocks that I put in your text as well. Just text the word stock to 31996. That's all right there. All right. So how many of you think that we're in a recession already? How many of you think, because my brother earlier mentioned, he said, stop the crap. Stop the crap. We're already in a recession right now. How many of y'all believe that we are in a recession right now? Give me a guess if you think that we are in a recession. What do y'all think? And as I wait for your answers, Tiffany says, I'm not a stalker. I just admire for what you do with your community. I have a picture of you in my dining area for my sons. Well, bless you and your sons. Tell them I said hello, and tell them that I said that they have a very smart mother with excellent taste. That is awesome. I love that. Yeah, I you know what? I don't mind being a bonus dad. Uncle Boyce. Just tell him Uncle Boyce said hey, and tell him that I said Tiffany Mitchell is a very smart black woman. I'm telling you, because my mama made the difference between my mom and my grandmother. Our Panther in the Black Business School is named Felicia after my grandmother because she was the first person to teach me about economics, and I love her for that, man. I'm telling you, little things you do with your kids will make all the difference in the world. Like don't underestimate the impact of very little things you might do. Like, for example, picking who you want their role models and stuff to be. My mother, was poor, very poor when I was born. She was 17 years old, in the projects, the whole nine, right? No money, no nothing, no, not even a daddy. I was born on Father's Day. My father wasn't even there. And I had a bonus dad that took over when I was 3. He's a real man. He took over. He took responsibility. And I'll just tell you, I grew up kind of in a very project-y, poor kind of space. Most of my friends and cousins, we didn't have no money. We just didn't know we were poor. And most of my friends that I played with did not end up doing well. And I noticed when looking back that my mother raised me different. My mother gave me different examples, different role models. She would tell me stories, believe it or not, even about people like Dr. Ben Carson. I know people get into Republican Democrat stuff, but she would talk about how his mother couldn't read up until she was, I think, almost in high school. And then his mother ended up getting a PhD or something, if I'm not mistaken. And then he becomes one of the greatest surgeons on earth. And, that those stories of inspiration were the stories I grew up on. And so, mamas, daddies, like you are the teacher. And I don't want to belabor this point. I promise you, we're going to get to the recession thing. I hope you allow me to mention this because I want to make sure you understand why you're doing this. But I'm telling you, those little words you say, those little things you do that you think ain't going to amount to nothing, or the kids ain't listening, that will make all the difference in the world. Don't be afraid to do that. Anyway, let me jump back into this. Okay, some of you think that we're in a recession. Some of you think that we're not. Let me just share something with you that's really interesting. This is going to probably confuse you if you think that we're in a recession. So the GDP numbers just came in. So the government, they released lots of data to tell us whether we're in a recession or not. And actually, if you look at CNBC right now, it says the stocks are up again for the 14th straight day in a row. In case you don't know, that is absolutely remarkable. I don't know how many years it's been since we've had 14 straight days of positive stock market growth, but that is massive. That is epic. That is huge. That's a very big deal. This is a market that you don't want to miss, people. But black people, this is a stock market. I swear, I wake up every day and I pray to Black Jesus, white Jesus, and baby Jesus that Black people, intelligent Black people, are watching this stock market. There is so much money being printed right now. It's crazy. And eventually, just like the rain, when it starts raining, the rain eventually stops. And right now, the stock market is making it rain on the economy. I'm gonna read some of this to you. 0.4% pace in the second quarter, which topped expectations. They said that, let's see what they said. It's better than the 2% increase expected by economists. So the economists thought the economy would grow by 2%, it grew by 2.4%. So every time they think the economy is getting weaker or that it's leveling off, it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It's kind of crazy. And so the Federal Reserve, you can see this headline down here on the right, it's down under trending now. It says that the Fed approves a rate hike, or approves a hike that takes interest rates to the highest level in more than 22 years. So they're doing everything in their power to slow this economy down. They're doing everything in their power to kill this economic tailwind. They can't do it. They just can't do it. It's crazy to me. They're literally at a point where they're just like, Lord Jesus, what do we have to do in order to slow this economy down? Because what happens is runaway economies, like a runaway train, can cause excessive amounts of inflation. And inflation is bad for an economy. And so effectively, what they basically do, here's how they fight inflation. They hike up interest rates, which is supposed to reduce demand. When you reduce demand for a product, the price goes down. Okay, when people want it less, the price goes down. Well, if you increase interest rates, people they don't want to buy houses as much. They don't buy cars as much. They're hoping that would bring prices down, which is either disinflation or deflation. Disinflation is where you still have inflation. It's just not as strong as before. Deflation is when prices just go down, where it's like the negative of inflation. So they're effectively kind of like pumping these interest rate hikes into the economy, hoping that this is going to eventually cause some sort of a slowdown. And unfortunately, they really want higher unemployment. Unfortunately, they really want they want you to be in a recession, at least a little bit, not a bad one. They really do want things to kind of rein in. And it sounds terrible that they would do this, but if they don't do it, then what will happen is that you'll have this insane inflation, and we'll end up like some of these countries that have inflation rates that are just absolutely insane. So effectively, they're doing this, and they're doing it consistently. But the problem is that the economy just won't stop. It can't stop, won't stop. So effectively, these numbers are saying that we're not anywhere near a recession right now. The stock market is just kind of going berserk. Now, in terms of, if you want to know a stock that I like right now, that looks like it could be a buying opportunity, is Chipotle. Chipotle is a company that just saw a little bit of a drop in its price because they didn't meet their earnings numbers. But let me just tell you, I have made tens of thousands of dollars from my investment in Chipotle stock. I was a big investor in Chipotle. I love their food. I love their business model. I love their management team, and I really believe in Chipotle. So again, this is not invested advice, but I'm just here to tell you that I'm a heavy investor in Chipotle. I like solid, strong American companies. So if you want to do with that as you will, it's up to you. And by the way, I'm putting a link in there. If you want to look at some of the other things, I have a section in the Black Business School called What Dr. Boyce is Buying. And you can click that link and follow and subscribe and get access to that if you'd like. So feel free to take that link. I assume you guys can see that link. I just put it in the chat. All right. So anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done that yet. And also don't forget the All Black National Convention is happening October 20th through the 22nd in Atlanta. It's the #1 gathering of intelligent Black people on earth. We're making Black history this year because we are partnering with the Black Doctoral Network, which is going to be in the same building at the same time. The Black Doctoral Network is the largest organization on earth of Black PhDs. So for the first time in what I believe at least in recent history, this year going to have the largest gathering of highly educated, highly skilled, highly intelligent Black people who are independently funded, not funded by the government, not funded by the Democrats or Republicans, not funded by McDonald's, Burger King, Walmart, or Target. These are independently funded scholars who are together for the sole purpose of solving problems for Black people. We're not here to serve other people. We're here to serve ourselves. And that's why we're making Black history. So if you'd like to join us at the convention, it's also a lot of fun. It's a great family reunion. Just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That URL's on the screen. If you have a Black-owned business, you can come to the convention and sell your stuff. There are plenty of people there that would love to buy whatever you're selling and support your business. Also, we'll market you. So let's see here. Someone asked, are you buying a call out of the money on Chipotle? What's your expiration date? I bought some long-term calls. Like I think I bought some calls that expired literally in 2024, June of 2024. And so the weird dilemma I put myself into, Moonwalker, is I bought these long-term calls assuming that it would take like maybe a year for the economy to, for the stock market to recover. I gave myself plenty of time. and it recovered faster than I thought. It's just like the pandemic. When the pandemic happened, if you go back and you watch videos I did right when the pandemic started, March of 2020, I was telling you guys, I said, the stock market has just crashed. I believe the average bear market lasts maybe 18 months. I believe it's going to recover in 18 months. It didn't take 18 months for the stock market to recover. It took about 2 weeks. It took about 2 weeks. And the craziest thing was that during that time, my students and the people that watch this channel were making money hand over fist. Like they were literally watching the value of their stocks double in a few days. And then at that point, when the prices jump like that, you have another problem. The other problem is what they call irrational exuberance. Irrational exuberance is where prices get so high that people will buy anything, and it's like a frenzy. It's like everybody's running around. Everybody's a bunch of financial crackheads. So the financial crackhead scenario became ugly to the point where I pulled out. When the party gets a little bit too wild, I tend to move my money away from the stock market, because what goes up does eventually come down, or there is some sort of decline. Now let's see here. Somebody says, "Are you doing promotions on your new page?" Well, I am on. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at Dr. Boyce Finance. So you can feel free to follow me on Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance. As you guys know, unfortunately, we lost our big Instagram page. I had like 440,000 followers, but that's the consequence. I read Dr. Claude Anderson books, sometimes out loud, and I think I read something about white women and affirmative action, and they define that as hate speech, and that's unfortunately the world we live in. But also fortunately, we were always prepared for this. I always believed that that intentional blackness is always going to be an enemy of America. I always believed that black intelligence was a bigger threat to America than any form of ignorance that they could put out there. That there's no gangster rapper that scares the world more than an intelligent black man who is actually making a difference, whose solutions are actually working. And I know my solutions work because I'm a mathematician. And when I taught mathematics at the University of Kentucky, the thing about mathematics is you don't get credit for trying to solve a problem. You only get credit for actually solving it. Like you don't get credit for identifying a problem. That's part of it, but you have to actually get a solution. Like you don't get credit for whining about a problem, right? So when I see people get together and they talk about racism, they say, "Oh, racism's terrible. It's so hard. It sucks. It hurts my feelings." I'm like, yeah, okay. After we finish whining about the problem, are we going to actually solve it? So that's one of the things that I do. And we read Dr. Claude Anderson books because I'm a big believer in what Dr. Anderson does. I'm a big believer in powernomics. I'm a big believer in his book, Black Labor, White Wealth, and his book, The Black History Reader. So I read those books out loud, and I think that's what got me banned. So as a result, on Wednesday nights when we do powernomics training, we couldn't do it this week because unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I'm with my daughter. I'm helping her move out of the country. So I'm very, very, very busy for a couple of weeks. But anyway, when we do this on Wednesday nights at 8:30, and it's totally free to the public, I'm going to have to start doing that in a private Zoom. I learned that you can't do everything out loud. You can't do everything in public. And so effectively, from this point on, if you want to join our powernomics training, that's going to be done in a private space where we're allowed the freedom of speech necessary for us to educate our own. So, but it's still free. If you want to join, just go to boycewatkins.com, or you can just get on the text list. Text the word stock to 31996, and I'll send you guys a text message to let you guys know when we do our next training. It should be next Wednesday. And also on Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance, I'll do what I call Stock Market Tuesdays, where I'll come in and answer your questions. That's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern every Tuesday. So 11 a.m. Eastern Tuesday. Tune into my Instagram at Dr. Boyce Finance, and we're going to do, I'll answer your questions. All right. So hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. We're talking about whether or not we're in a recession and what that's going to look like. So I'm reading this article here, and it says that earnings results have generally been stronger than expected. So once again, we're exceeding expectations in terms of corporate earnings. That's a good thing. Of the companies that have reported so far, 81% have beaten analysts' expectations. That's beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful if you're a stock market investor. It's not beautiful if you aren't invested. If you're not an investor, then what this means, unfortunately, is that there's a higher likelihood that unemployment is going to increase. The reason the unemployment rate is likely going to increase is because the Federal Reserve, when they see the economy this strong, that leads them to say, "Oh, well, we can just keep on hiking interest rates until inflation gets under control." And when they do that, they're increasing the unemployment rate. They're going to cause a lot of jobs to disappear. And I'm not even talking about things like AI, which, Lord Jesus, we know AI is going to kill a whole lot of jobs. And so basically, these numbers, I mean, I don't understand exactly how this is happening. The main thing, the biggest thing I see here is I see the resilience of the American consumer kind of popping in. Here's the thing: they train you from birth to buy stuff. You're trained from birth to, you know, get a job somewhere. We've talked about this. I'm not going to belabor this point. You can go look at one of my old videos and hear my breakdown of all this. But from birth, they send you to a public school. They teach you a bunch of crap that you're never going to actually need. They get paid not to educate you because the educational system, unfortunately, is represents the dark side of capitalism, just like the healthcare system. That's why you spend so much money on healthcare, and your healthcare sucks. It's not that it sucks. It's just that it's not as good as you would think to if you spend more money than anybody else on the planet. And so, anyway, they also so during this process, not only do they train you on a bunch of stuff that you're not actually going to use in real life, but they also teach you how to buy things. They teach you consumption. And this is pushed through media. The Kardashians are worth probably $5 to $10 billion now because they get people buying Spanx and fake booties and all kinds of makeup and all kinds of stuff because Americans love to consume. So what I see here in terms of the economic data is that there is this relentless, just unbelievable commitment to buying stuff that Americans have, even if it means you have to go in debt. And that should alarm you. That should concern you. And the reason it should concern you is because debt, if it's not appropriately checked and used for the right reasons, debt does become a form of economic slavery. They want you in debt. They need you in debt, especially starting with student loans. That's why they're never going to forgive all your student loans. They'll forgive some tiny amount, just enough to get you to keep voting, but they're not going to forgive enough to really make a difference because they need you in debt. They need to have something that will allow them to control you. You know what? In fact, let me break it down with an analogy. I'm gonna make myself sound like a terrible person here, but I don't care. Me and my wife are both PhDs, and you know how it is with your kids. Anybody got kids that think that they're smarter than you? Anybody got kids that think that they just know everything and they got you figured out, and they try to pull game on you, and you're like, wait, I did that in the 90s. You're not doing anything new here. Anybody got kids like that? Well, our kids are like that. We have the middle child who's super smart. And she thinks she's smarter than everybody because she probably is. She's probably smarter than 95% of the population, but she ain't smarter than us. She's definitely not smarter than both of us put together. We see it all. We know the whole game, right? So anyway, one of the things that about the kids was one of the problems we had was that we didn't know how to get her to do things if she don't wash the dishes. It's you can't spank your kids no more. I grew up where people would knock the hell out of the kids. I'm not saying that's a good thing though. I'm kind of glad that era is over, that we learn ways to educate our kids or raise them other than just beating the hell out of them. But you can't sometimes you want to wring their neck and you can't do that anymore. So you're okay, what do we do to make this child do what we need her to do? Right. So you try little stuff like taking away devices, but then they find some other way to still get online. And so what I told my wife is I said, I'm waiting for her to reveal herself. I need her to reveal her weakness. And once I see that weakness, I will know exactly how to use that to manage her behavior. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I said, I need her to want something, because once she tells me she wants something, then that gives us something that we can take away. It sounds sinister as hell. It sounds terrible. But this is me sort of breaking down to you and explaining the game. And we're doing this hopefully for her benefit. We have, we doing this because we love her, but the government doesn't, and they don't really love you. They're not doing it because they love you. They're doing it because it works. So basically, here's what happened. Give me a yes if you're following what I'm saying here. Give me a yes if it's okay if I finish the story, because I don't want to be overly long-winded, but I'm trying to help you understand economic lessons and what they're doing to you. So one of the things that we did was one day she just pops up and she's telling us about these shoes she wants. And she wants, she mentioned she's into luxury. She likes luxury, luxury brands. She wanted a Coach purse. She wanted some, I don't know if it was Gucci shoes or something like that. And she wanted all this material stuff. And I said, oh, so she's got some champagne taste on a Bud Light budget, right? She ain't got no money, but she wants money, right? She doesn't have any ability to pay for these things, but these are the things that she wants. And so effectively, once we figured out what she wanted, then we were oh, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to give her a little bit of what she wants. And then when she starts acting up, we'll just take it away. And then that way we can kind of get her to help position her in the places that she needs to be. Like, oh, you don't want to do it. You don't want to go to that after school program? Oh, well, let me go in there and let me take back those new shoes we just bought for you. Oh, you don't want to you don't want to clean the kitchen and wash the dishes? Oh, well, that money that we were going to put aside to get you that blankety blank, oh, that's not going to happen now. Or that new iPhone, oh, you can forget about the new iPhone. See, and here's the thing. If she was smart, pay attention now. If she was smart, she would do what the Buddhists do. Does anybody know how the Buddhists operate? I'm not an expert on Buddhism, so if I say something wrong, forgive me. The Buddhists, one of the principles, if I'm not mistaken, is to want nothing. To want nothing. And the reason that they do this, in my view, the reason it makes sense to me is because when you want nothing, then people don't have anything they can hold over your head. They don't have anything they can control you with. So a lot of people think that financial freedom comes down to having lots of money. They think, oh, once I get $1 million, I'll be financially free. I'm not saying that can't help, right? Having $1 million in the bank certainly allows you more options than not having $1 million in the bank. No doubt about it. But here's a secret. You really don't need a lot of money to be financially free. All you have to do is be free of financial addictions. If you are free of the desire and the need to have money, then you're financially free. Do you know how many people there are in the world who have no money in the bank at all, who are who are more financially free than the millionaire next door? You understand? Because money can be a drug, and when you talk about a drug, you've got the pusher and you got the addict. So in our house, she unfortunately is a little bit of the addict. She's decided she likes all this luxury crap that they've been marketing to her. There's Gucci and Louis and all this crap that the rappers wear. And so she's become addicted and has this desire for these material things. And guess who the big daddy is? Guess who's the person in the house that has the most money? Me. So in order for you to get access to what you want, you're going to have to pursue the agenda of the government, which is our household. Because in our household, it's not a democracy. It's a dictatorship for the most part. And I'm the king. Her mama's the queen. And for the benefit of the citizens of the household, we make laws and rules that are appropriate for the best interest of everybody in here. Now, the government does the same thing to you. The only difference, though, the only problem you have is that your government don't give a damn about you. Your government does not love you the way we love the kids. The government will never love you as much as they love their money. The corporations will never love you. The corporate plantation will never love you as much as some of y'all love them. Some of y'all, unfortunately, were raised to believe you're supposed to go give 40, 50 years of your life to this corporation that's literally going to let you work until you die at your desk. And then they're going to replace you in a couple of days and forget that you were ever even there. So effectively, what I'm saying to you is that the debt that occurs as a result of our addiction to spending is a big driver of all this economic growth that I'm pointing out to you. All these things I'm showing you, all these numbers that are like, holy crap, how in the hell where's this money coming from? All this spending that's happening. Oh, I get it. People are maxing out the credit cards now. People are spending money that they don't have. Why is that? Well, because you've been trained since birth to keep up with the Joneses. Oh, they have a new couch and a new windows and a new Mercedes. Let me get a new couch and new windows and a new Mercedes because I don't want to look like I'm not doing as well as they are. Man, you better let go of that. The Joneses don't care about you. You living below your means is the most liberating experience you will ever have. I don't live to impress nobody when it comes to our stuff. Ain't been a car I've ever bought that was bought to impress anyone at all. I drive a nice car because I just like it, but it was a used nice car. So I would just say to you guys, that mindset piece, then this was why we created the Black Financial Therapy Department, the Black Business School. I'm super proud of it because, I've never seen one before. And we basically use the cutting edge tools of therapy to understand what blocks us from Black wealth. And in our research, that's what we're finding. We're finding that it's mindset that ends up causing so many problems. And if you want to see examples of this, just watch. I want you to watch with a critical eye. Watch the imagery that comes up in rap music videos, or watch the imagery, watch the commercials. Like if you ever watch like the BET Awards, I want you to look at the commercials and see the professional Black woman driving the Lexus or whatever they advertise during the commercial breaks. It's a whole racket. It's a whole process, right? So I want you to rise above that. And the other thing too about this economic data I'm sharing with you is that this is still your opportunity though. If you get in, again, the pimp game is going to happen regardless. So since the pimp game is going to happen, you might as well align yourself with the pimps financially. And these corporations, these big mutual funds, those are the pimps. Those are the pushers. Those are the players. Align your wealth with their wealth. I'm not saying that you should agree with everything they do. I'm not saying that they can't be racist. I'm not saying that they can't be unethical. They are all these things. But when I tell you about these companies and I say, look at Chipotle, look at how they make money hand over fist, or look over here, look at what Mark Zuckerberg is doing with Meta. I sent you all earlier this week. The profit alert was Meta, and if you saw what happened with Meta, and then we're lucky. Again, this isn't guaranteed. There's nothing that's guaranteed. But if you look at Meta stock, since I sent out the profit alert, Meta stock has been absolutely on fire. It went up 7% today. 7% today. I mean, money is being printed in front of your eyes. Let me show you all this. I'm going to share my screen. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Please hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Also, this podcast is on Spotify. So if you look up my name on Spotify, you will find my podcast on Spotify. And also, if you all could just hit that thumbs up button, and also please hit the notification bell. Take 1 minute, hit that notification bell, because that's how you can get notified. Black channels, unfortunately, they get shadow banned a lot. I think I'm shadow banned. I mean, I have over 1 million subscribers on different platforms, and it's really hard to notify you guys when we go live. They block that. So if you like the content here and you benefit, hit the notification bell. I will let you know I do go live a lot. You don't have to come in every single time, but every time I come in here, I always ask myself, is there something worth talking about? And so I do talk to you guys a lot because I want you guys to learn these things. So hit that notification bell. All right. So look at Facebook stock. Look at this. Look at Meta in the last 5 days. It's gone up, 4.5%. So $14 per share. If you look at the last 6 months, it's been absolutely on fire. Literally, it has doubled. It's absolutely doubled in the last 6 months. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Year to date, it's up 155%. No, thank you. You too. It's up 155%. And sorry, that I'm in a hotel, and they knock on the door and they want to clean it up, and I'm like, I'm talking to intelligent Black people, lady. Go away. Anyway, I'm kidding. Let me stop to do that before they get scared. I don't want to scare white people with my angry Black man voice. All right. So anyway, so you look here, the last year. Look at Meta stock for last year. What is this? Let's see. Wait, hold on. Where'd the chart go? The chart disappeared. Here we go. 88% in the last year, last 5 years, 82% increase. So this is an easy play. Companies like this, adding them to your portfolio is a very easy play, because it is a scenario where you simply park your money there, you park your spare change there, you invest consistently, and then the money naturally grows. Okay. All right. So a couple things I want to also mention as we finish up our day is, or this part of our day anyway, is what else is going on in the economy. They said the GDP data and earnings are the latest signals that the U.S. economy is more resilient than expected and could dodge a recession as inflation shows continued signs of easing. On Wednesday, investors digested remarks from Fed Chair Jerome Powell, hinting that the central bank could also hold rates steady at these levels, and suggested that the Federal Open Market Committee will remain data dependent. That means they're going to look at the data and then make a decision. The central bank meets again in September after a batch of new inflation and employment data. So they're going to meet again in September and decide if they want to increase interest rates. Quote, those very high rates that scared me and the market earlier on in the year don't seem to be having as much of a negative effect as I had feared. This is Wharton School's Jeremy Siegel. Let me just tell you, I like Jeremy Siegel a lot. I watch this guy. He's a fellow scholar, and I have a lot of respect for him. And Jeremy Siegel was one of the guys who predicted, long before anybody really talked about it, he predicted that we were going to have an inflationary issue because the government was spending money like crazy. He said this. And he's also saying right now that, as I've told you guys, 2024 is expected to be a great year for stocks. In fact, he predicted that 2023 will be a great year, as a lot of us did. And the thing about 2023, the interesting thing about the stock market is that lately, at least in the last 5 years, it's been moving faster than we expect. Like things that, like so many times, like Tom Lee from Fundstrat and some other guys, they would say something like, well, in the next year, we expect blah, blah, blah to happen by the end of 2023. And then instead of it happening like later in the year, in the second half of the year, it happens in the first quarter of 2023. And so apparently maybe I wonder if the way information spreads is just through technology or whatever is just sort of accelerating this process. I have no idea. All I know is that there's money being printed right now. There are tremendous opportunities right now. And there's going to be a pullback most likely soon, right? Remember, we've had 14 straight days of positive stock market increases. 14 straight days. That's crazy. That's going to have to stop at some point. It's like a basketball team that has a winning streak. Eventually, they're going to lose a game. So maybe waiting until the market pulls back a little bit might be a good move for you. It's totally up to you. Now, I'm looking at some of your questions here. Let's see. Let's see. Small City Venture says, could it be foreign money or money setting it up for a pullback? It's probably foreign money. There's a ton of foreign money in our markets. Our markets are actually well functioning, very good stock markets. So a lot of foreigners want to invest in the United States for that reason. Money setting it up for a pullback. I'm sure they're preparing for a pullback. Typically when the market goes way up, people start selling things and they start moving their money around so that because they know that what goes up does eventually come down. And so they do sort of reposition. Dr. Watkins, have you heard of his brother named Eric July? No, I have not. He created and owns his own comic book company, and he made over $2 million off his first graphic novel. Well, good for him. All right, way to go, Eric. That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Let's see here. Yoshika says, I see you every time you go live. Well, I appreciate you, Yoshika. Yoshika's awesome. Yeah, every time I turn on my live, Yoshika's the first person in here. So God bless you. Let us know what city where you live, Yoshika. So and everybody just shout out to the Black women that support us. Without you, we're nothing, and I appreciate you very, very much. Let's see. Love Rika. I'm definitely maxed out. I lost my job and been using credit cards to live since March. Oh, I'm sorry, Rika. I wish you the best. And good luck to you. And if you email support at theblackbusinessschool.com, tell them that I said to let you into some of our classes for free or something like that. If anybody else is having a really hard time, we'd be happy to help you. We can't do everything for free because we have to raise money, and because we're building a university, we're trying to do what HBCUs do, except we're trying to do it better. I believe we can do it better. And the reason I know we can do it better is most HBCUs, unfortunately, none of them really teach on a powernomics philosophy. We teach heavily on powernomics. And a lot of that's built around three fundamental beliefs we call the Black Core of Three. This is the first thing I told Kanye West when he called to ask, what we do and why we do it. And he loved it. That was one good part of our conversation. He really loved it. When I talked to Ice Cube about it, he loved it. And basically, we believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black-owned businesses. So it's not just a model that says we should rise above the system, but we argue that the best way to rise above the system is to get out of the system and to create alternative systems. Because the same way white people can create systems, Black people can create systems. The same way Jewish people can create systems, we can create systems. So effectively, when you talk about educating our own children, this was driven by the fact that we look at Chicago public schools, where there are 55 public schools in Chicago that don't have a single child that's reading or doing math at grade level. In fact, Madam President on Your Black World, she interviewed one of the principals who they claim was fired because his students were performing at such a high level. Now, is it that simple? I have no idea, but I can say that typically what probably occurred is that he achieved an excellent performance from Black students, but did it in a way that was not consistent with what the system wanted him to do. Right? Because if he had done things the way the system wanted him to do it, those children would still be sub-mediocre, because the system, in my view, doesn't want to see Black children excel. The system is not designed for Black people to rise to the top. The system was built on this idea that Black people will kind of be the bottom feeders of this process. So that's what I'm really guessing. I don't think he got fired because his students were doing well. I don't know. Maybe that's the case, but that would be harder to believe. I think he got fired because they said, we want your students to do well, but we want them to do well according to our rules. And what people don't understand is that sometimes when you shape the rules, you're creating these very natural glass ceilings that Black children are going to keep Black children in a box, right? And it's like, so for example, if I say, well, I want you to teach my kids how to do math, but I need to make sure that they know their pronouns first, and that they understand transgender LGBT rules first before they learn mathematics. And then I say, no, how about we teach them that after I teach them mathematics? Or maybe we let their parents decide if this is something culturally appropriate for their family. well, then guess what? I'm not going to have a job at that school very long. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? So part of that rule of educating our own children comes to the fact that we just fundamentally believe that the first educator of a child is the mother and the father. I talked to my daughter about this yesterday. I said, you're the most important influence that your kids will ever have. Their father is number two. That's where education starts, in my view. And then the second rule is that Black people should create our own jobs. And the reason I believe we should create our own jobs is because we have so much stress, so much pain, so much agony, so much discomfort that comes from getting up and going to work every day and working and dealing with people who don't respect us, who don't believe in our potential, who don't give us the opportunities we deserve. They'll give you affirmative action one week and then take it away the next, or start giving it to white women the next minute. And there's a lot of misery and stress that comes out of that. And so if we create our own jobs, which requires a whole different skill set, right? A whole different skill set from simply looking for the job. We have to be able to create the job that people will be looking for. And so that's one of the things we do in the Black Business School that makes us different. And I know we do it very, very well. And so if we educate our own children, create our own jobs, and then support Black businesses, which means spending our money with intentionality, putting our money into our community first. We can spend money elsewhere if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that. But aim for your people first. See what you can do for other people in your own space, on your own team first. Then I think then what happens is those alternative institutions that we create, like they mentioned the brother who made $2 million selling his book. Well, a lot of that was driven by the fact that somebody made a conscious effort to divert their money to supporting this new Black institution. And that also means not just supporting those institutions, it means training children to be able to adequately run those institutions. A lot of Black entrepreneurs that I see on the internet that are doing their best, they struggle sometimes because they're not appropriately trained. They got the wrong education while they were kids. They learned about Edgar Allan Poe when they should have been learning how to start businesses and make investments and develop their LLC and delegate and create systems and processes that will allow an organization to flourish, right? So effectively, and it also means as consumers, we have to give grace to Black-owned businesses as well. So if I see a brother running a business and he's not doing it right, I'm not going to say, I hate you, you scammer, you terrible person. Maybe I'm going to say, hey, brother, look, I'm not going to buy from you anymore because I don't like the way your business is being done. But on my way out the door, I'm going to give you some constructive criticism that will help you to do better next time, so you don't lose more customers by doing business in a way that is not quite appropriate. So these are the things we believe in. And I believe that these are solutions that will work. I just think that we have to commit to those ideas. And the reason that many of you are here right now is because I think you agree with me. I think you see the problems. And what's different here in the space of intelligent Black people, in my opinion, is that we're not just talking about the problems, we're talking about the solutions. And the solutions are not broad government-based solutions. The solutions are not big national solutions. They're not solutions where we have new Black leaders and all that, because you don't have really good leadership, because a lot of Black leadership is chosen by media. Media is controlled by people who don't like you very much, so they're going to pick the wrong leaders and tell you to look up to the wrong people. Instead, leadership should start in the family, because in the family, that's where you have the purest, most noble objectives for those who are affected by that leadership. So if I'm a father and I'm leading my kids, then that's more appropriate, because my kids, I'm doing it because I love them and I want to make sure they're good. I want to make sure they're safe. I want to make sure they're happy. Right. So I should be the top leader in their life, not the schools and all that. But that also requires me to change how I think as a father. When they gave you this model of life that says you're supposed to spend more time at your job than you spend with your kids. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Like, this is industrialization. This is the Rockefellers. This is 100 years ago. They somehow ran campaigns, again, the mind control. They ran campaigns to convince the American people that, staying home with your kids and being around your children and talking to your kids, that's not appropriate, that's a waste of your life. So as a mom or as a father, you're supposed to be off working all day long. And then what happens is they say, oh, don't worry about your kids. We got that. We'll take care of your kids. So the public schools become a babysitting service. And while the babysitter has your kids eventually come home to you. You come home from a long day of work where you've been at the corporate plantation, not getting rich, but making just enough money to pay your landlord and to buy consumer items, and to pay off your student loans. You come home and you're exhausted. And then the child comes home and they've had their day where they've been getting indoctrinated with only God knows what. And then you realize one day you don't own your kids anymore. You don't have the greatest influence on their mind. And in fact, I'll summarize this with something that Brother Nuri Muhammad said. Nuri Muhammad is in the new movie that we just made called B1 the Movie. Let me tell you what Brother Nuri said that I thought was really fascinating. He came on this platform and said it. If you look up both of our names, you could probably find the interview. He said that he cited a study, and I don't know what study this was, but he said that in the 1950s, the top influences, I hope I can remember this. I might have to write it down to make sure to try to jog it up in my brain. He said the top influences of children in the 1950s were school, home, and the church. School, home, and the church. Because remember, a lot of kids, like my grandmother, would go to church and the church would educate and have after school activities. And in the middle, they're giving you biblical principles, which I honestly think, I mean, again, I don't go to church, but I think if you take a lot of what Jesus said or whatever was said in the Bible, it kind of makes you a decent person, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. We know we got Bible thumpers that judge people and do terrible things, but I kind of like some of those ideas. The Bible's full of wisdom, and I respect that. He said now, instead of the leading influences on children being school, home, and the church, he said now the leading influences are social media, rappers, and their friends. Literally, their friends, social media, and their favorite rappers. And I want you to tell me if that's going to lead to better outcomes for those kids. I want you to tell me if that's going to lead to a better life. If you live in your life and you live listening to your friends more than your parents, if you are obsessed with what's happening on social media, which is a very toxic environment, very harmful for children. Lots of kids are killing themselves over cyberbullying. You listen to your favorite rappers who make it 100% clear that they don't give a damn about you either. All they care about is getting the money. Not all of them, but a lot of them. All they care about is getting the money. So they will make song after song after song for some white or Jewish man that is consistently. See, I got to stop saying stuff like that because this is probably what got my Instagram page taken down because I forget Zuckerberg is, he's a Berg. Let me be quiet. All right. But think about this. You've got these rappers that are telling you to do all these things that are going to destroy your life, waste all your money, put yourself in a terrible position. They want your son to go to prison and be happy about it. And I just personally think we have to fight against that. And the way to fight against that is you have to build systems. And the way you build systems is you have to understand how to do that. So I think our children should be taught to build systems, meaning businesses, families. A family is a system. Media, our own media. How to delegate things. All these building skills are critical, and it's not just at the highest levels, also at the lower levels. Like so in the Black Business School, we're actually making a major business deal right now with a group that's going to train young people and older people if they want to on a lot of hands-on skills. Like we are going to have people that can come to the Black Business School and get trained on things like HVAC, carpentry, plumbing, all these things. And then we're going to tie that in with entrepreneurship because you have no idea how much money plumbers and carpenters and electricians are making. And when you look at what's happened in the school system, it's kind of crazy that, when they started pushing everybody to college, I think college is okay. College is wonderful. I had a great time in college. College did a lot for me. I've been a college professor for many years. My first book was called Everything You Ever Wanted to Know About College. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon if you have kids going to college, where I literally gave professor secrets. Like, this is what your professor is looking for. All you do is just do these 5 things and you're going to make straight A's, right? Because making straight A's in college was very easy for me. And it wasn't just because I was smarter than everyone else, or maybe I am kind of smart, I don't know, but it was also just because I figured out the process. I solved the problem, right? And so anyway, I'm a big fan of college. But when they started sort of pushing everybody down that college route, and a large percentage of our kids were not a fit for that route, then they had nothing. And then they would leave high school with no skill whatsoever. And I just need you to process for a minute with me. And thank you for letting me share this point. I hope that this point's helpful. I want you to process with me what happens when you enter into a highly competitive economy where money is the motive for everything, but you have no understanding of money and no skill to obtain money. You literally have zero skills. That this school that's been babysitting you for 12 years and has had you for more time than your own parents have, literally gave you nothing to go into this world where you could say, okay, I can do this for you and make money. It's kind of sad. It's sad. How many of you have ever gone through this? Has anybody ever done like an at-home project in your house where you're trying to build something, build out your basement, get some electrical work done, get plumbing done, get carpentry done, and tried to hire a black person? Has anybody ever gone through that where you were looking for the black electrician, looking for the black plumber, looking for the black HVAC, whatever it was, right? Looking for the black skilled person to come in and do the job, and you couldn't find anybody? Anybody gone through that? But yet you found a whole gang. What did you find? You found a whole gang of people speaking Spanish. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I mean, truckloads of Mexicans showing up. No disrespect if you're Mexican. God bless you for that, right? Ukrainians. You might find some Russians. Your plumber is from Bulgaria. You're finding all these people from these other countries that are like, hey, if I can learn this skill and make money, I'm gonna get good at it, put my shingle up, hand out my business card, and just rake in the dough. And you're feeling like crap because you're like, how come our black kids aren't doing these things? Why don't we have a million young black men and women that can show up at your house and do the plumbing or the carpentry or the construction? What's happening? So nobody's training them on this. They are being paid money to not educate your kids. They're literally being paid money to keep our kids as dumb as possible. And that should offend the shit out of you. We should be pissed off about that. I'm angry. You got all of our kids, our children are our $1 trillion asset. That's all we gonna have left when we're gone. In the year 2050, 2060, 2070, when we're all dead, they're going to be all that's left of us. And you've got them sitting there stuck on stupid without a single marketable skill that will help them survive in this economy. Do y'all agree with me? Can we at least understand how deliberate this is? Do you understand how this links right back to slavery? Except it's worse than slavery in certain ways because at least the slaves had enough common sense to be able to be in a position where they could think for themselves because they didn't have things like integration to distract them. They didn't have things like affirmative action pulling them away from ownership of property and businesses and into corporate jobs and student loans. They didn't have promises of politicians that if you simply let go of everything you own and everything you have, then we'll take good care of you. They didn't have all this nonsense to distract them. So to some extent, your ancestors 100 years ago were made of something that was much sturdier than what we're made of right now. We are so dependent on this system that is crazy. We can't. Dr. Kirk Quigless, and I'm gonna put his website up here. He's a respected dentist out of St. Louis. He comes on his channel a lot. I'm gonna put his website up here because he actually runs a really great business. Let me see if I can find. It's Dr. Q's FreshBreathClub.com. Let me see. Here we go. I'm gonna put it on the screen. But anyway, Dr. Kirk Quigless came on this platform and told a fascinating story about an amazing black-owned hospital that they had in St. Louis. I don't have the name of the hospital in front of me. If you know it, please put it in the chat. They had this amazing, he said, I was raised around black doctors and nurses who went to work every day in this beautiful black-owned hospital where they had black patients and black administrators and black everything. And he said the reason they had this amazing black-owned hospital, it was Homer something. I remember the letter H was in there. And they fought for this hospital. They fought for it, and the white folks were like, whatever, just take it. We don't want to be around y'all anyway. Right. And rather than seeing that as an insult, like, oh, it hurts our feelings that you don't want to be around us, they just said, okay, well, let us go over here and do what you do, except we're going to do it better. Because we have medical professionals just like you do. We have people that can administrate a hospital just like you do. We have nurses just like you do. We have business people just like you do. We have attorneys just like you do. And they have one of the best hospitals in all of Missouri. And really, maybe one of the best. Homer G. Phillips. Thank you. Homer G. Phillips. Thank you, Ren. I appreciate that. I couldn't remember the name. I knew what the word Homer was in there somewhere. Homer G. Phillips Hospital. Look up the history. If y'all want to understand how great y'all used to be, because I'm sorry, I think we're in a stage where we got to make black people great again. We really do. Not to take that from Trump, but I think it's a great term. Actually, believe it or not, Clinton actually used that too, like a make America great again. We got to make black people great again. And that's the stage that we're in because we hear these stories about things that black people did in the 1930s. And we're like, whoa, I didn't know that was possible. Or I saw Magic Johnson. He was crying because he was so proud of owning like 2% of the Washington Commanders, which is, by the way, they're such a mediocre football team. The whole hopefully they're profitable. Congrats to Magic, but he owned maybe 2, 4, 5%, something like that. And I was like, but we used to own the whole damn league. Like there was a time where we owned every team. We had the right to not just collect all the money, but we could create new teams. And I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do that because we got the best athletes. Think about this. No disrespect if you're not black. If you're not black, I'm not disrespecting you at all. But I'm going to just tell you, if you took any major professional sports league, especially football and basketball, and you said, we're going to eliminate every person in this league who's not black, you would still have a league that's about 80 to 90% as talented and as entertaining as you have right now. Black people, we bring all the juice to everything we do. We bring all the funk to everything we do. We bring all the talent to everything we do. Before us, there were none. After us, there will be no more. So to me, if you are the originator on that level, if you really are ordained with that level of talent and creativity and capability to the point that the world obsesses over you and imitates you and wants to be like you, then why don't you own anything? Why don't you have a stake in your own existence? You can only chalk that up to brainwashing. So anyway, Dr. Q's website is drqsfreshbreathclub.com. Check out his products. If you brush your teeth, he has a whole suite of dental products. They're all really healthy. And also, you can actually be an affiliate. So if you like the products, you can sell them and he'll give you 20%. And I'm an affiliate. I joined his affiliate program. I don't have my affiliate link, so I'm a terrible salesman for myself. But for Dr. Q, if you want to be an affiliate, go and sign up. And that way the business scales and grows. And instead of giving all your money to Colgate and Palmolive and Procter and Gamble, you can keep the money in your community. He's a good brother, very smart guy. And he's a really damn good dentist. And he's 100% pro-black. That's why I respect him. All right, so do me a favor, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'm gonna close up with a couple of comments about the economy. Also, if you want to find my Instagram, where we're gonna do Stock Market Tuesdays at 11 a.m. on Tuesdays, just follow me at Dr. Boyce Finance. That's my new Instagram. After they took down the other one, that's the one that I tend to follow now. Also, since we talk about systems and creating new systems, we are developing a Black-owned movie industry. We've made several movies actually that have been quite good. We made Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint. Democracy, a Black American Horror Story, Raising a Black Scholar. We did with Dr. Roosevelt Mitchell. Tierra KJ Williams was the director. Our latest film project is B1 the movie, and that is directed by Rick Mathis. And we're going to do the red carpet premiere for this film at the new Black Wall Street in Atlanta on Marcus Garvey's birthday. I want to say it's August 17th, if I'm not mistaken. And so if you'd like to join us or you'd like to learn more about the film, just go to b1themovie.com. It stars a lot of great people. Riza Islam's in it. Dr. Claude Anderson's in it. Queen Afua is in it. Vicky Dillard is in it. Nuri Muhammad is in it. D1 is in it. Julian Gordon is in it. So many great people are in this film. And Madam President. There's so many awesome people that you're going to love. So check out the film. We tested it out. We did some private screenings. Everyone loves this freaking movie, like loves it. And we spent 3 years doing this. And I hope that you guys will want to be a part of this. Just go to b1themovie.com. We're also going to do a digital screening through the Black Business School. And we're going to screen it also at the All Black National Convention, which is in Atlanta, October 20th. So you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com to learn more about the convention. Okay, guys. All right. So I'm going to finish up here today. I appreciate you all hanging out with me. It was real. I had a great time. And just in terms of the economy, let me give you a stock. Let me give you another stock that I like right now that I'm going to invest in. There's a company called Archer Aviation, and the ticker symbol is ACHR. Now you may not be able to find it on like Robinhood, but you can find it on E-Trade. And Archer Aviation, based on my research, is a stock that I like. Type this in the chat. It's the ticker symbol is ACHR. ACHR. Somebody type in the chat so everybody can see it. This is a stock that I like, and I'm going to actually go to E-Trade right now and buy some shares of this stock. And also, if you want me to send you some of these profit alerts directly via text, just text the word stock to 31996. And also, I'd be remiss not to mention that my wife, if you guys know, that my wife, Alicia, is a therapist, and she's also a full professor of social work. And she's written lots of books on healing and trauma, things like that. She actually was instrumental in helping me create the Black Financial Therapy Department in the Black Business School. She's hosting a retreat for those of you that are recovering from trauma. I don't know if you all have went through what I went through as a kid, but I realized after taking a test called the ACEs test, it stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. I learned that a lot of the things that I went through as a kid that I thought was normal was actually abuse. And I love my family. I love my parents, but the things that I thought were just things that hurt my feelings were actually things that weren't just traumatic and abusive, but they also affected my ability to form relationships later. And I don't know if I'm just naturally paranoid because I have to be, because I'm fully convinced that if you're truly finding solutions in the Black community, I truly believe that makes people afraid of you. I believe that the government, it wouldn't surprise me if there were FBI and CIA agents kind of monitoring what we're doing and trying to get close to me, stuff like that. So that on top of the trauma, really affected how I formed relationships, how I connected with people, how I disconnected with people. So anyway, she's doing a healing retreat. It's a virtual healing retreat on August 5th. And I'm going to put in the website up there. It's draliciawellness.com. And you guys actually for the next 48 hours can get 60% off. I think the regular price of the healing retreat is like $400. She $397 or something like that. She drops the price to $118. So and she's having an expert come in that's an expert on Reiki. And Reiki is a process that is very specific and proven to be beneficial for healing. And of course, she is a certified trauma professional. So she educated me quite a bit on trauma, how it affects you, how it affects our choices, how it affects our relationships. So if you were traumatized, I don't know if anybody else would. I'm not gonna say I had a terrible childhood, but again, I went through some things where I got older and realized I shouldn't have had to go through these things. So if you're looking to heal from that and to show up better in your life for the people that you care about and show up better for yourself, just go to draliciawellness.com. That's the URL on the screen, draliciawellness.com. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm out of here. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up on the way out. Also, make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I go live again. I'll probably go live again some point today because I just like talking to y'all and it's so much fun. We did Dr. Boyce After Dark last night, and I was just talking for probably a good hour and a half about all kinds of stuff from aliens to whether or not Mitch McConnell is too old to be in the White House or to be in Congress. And so so these are the fun conversations we have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you benefit from this discussion. Thank you so much for hanging out. Bless you. Love you. We'll see you soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.